Hi, I'm Dan Cortopassi. Today I'm reviewing an HO scale C44-9W locomotive from ScaleTrains. My example is part of the ScaleTrains Rivet Counter line and is decorated for Santa Fe in the as-delivered 1990 silver and red warbonnet scheme. ScaleTrains also offers these models detailed and decorated for several other railroads. They also offer an operator version with simplified details for a lower price. ScaleTrains offers the Rivet Counter -9s in two versions. The DCC Ready version is $174.99. I got my DCC and sound-equipped model for $264.99 direct from ScaleTrains. We'll start the model at 100 possible points. The model is packed in a sturdy cardboard box. Opening the box reveals an owner's manual with DCC and other information. Soft foam surrounds a two-piece plastic cradle that holds the model. Extra rotating end caps for the trucks are packed in a baggie inside the cradle. Flexible plastic on top of the model offers some additional protection against scratches. The handrails on the long hood have foam protectors. This is an excellent box that should do a good job protecting the model for storage and transport. Santa Fe 642 was built in February 1994. I found several photos of the real Santa Fe 642 online. It was still operating unpatched as late as 2005, though at some point the AC unit on the fireman's side had been swapped out. By 2007 it had acquired a small BNSF patch under the road number and yellow conspicuity stripes along the sill. One photo from 2016 shows it still in its original paint. The model appears very accurate overall, though the air filters on the engineer's side don't match the photos. The front filter should be a different type, and the one in the rear doesn't exist in that location on the real locomotive. The spare knuckle holder on the rear engineer's side truck doesn't appear on the real unit. These are minor issues and could be corrected with aftermarket parts, but it's still disappointing on a rivet counter model at this price, so I'm taking 5 points. A worse problem is that the truck side frames are not the correct style. The bulge should be rounded, more like the one on this Kato model. This would be a difficult fix, so I'm taking another 5 points. I should point out that some other ATSF-9s had the side frame style that's on the model, so one possible fix might be to renumber the unit. Oddly enough, ScaleTrains has photos of models with the correct side frames on their website, so it's possible that I just got the wrong part applied to my model. The paint on the model is opaque and thin enough not to obscure small details. The separation lines between the colors are sharp. The red looks a little dull to my eye, but could represent a unit that started to fade a little. The markings are crisp and all but the tiny writing is legible with magnification. There are a few voids at panel seams, but nothing too objectionable. I like the subtle squares on the sills that are a slightly different shade of red. Many of the grills on the sides of the model are see-through. In back you can look through to see the fan detail under the radiator. Nice. Like a lot of models with plastic handrails, they're not completely straight everywhere. In front, the model has separately applied uncoupling levers, hoses, and an MU cable. The ditch lights are operable and the plow is the correct style. At the corners, the model has see-through perforated steps. The handrails are made of a flexible plastic and have a thin cross-section. Wire grabs and separately applied windshield wipers adorn the cab. I like the number boards. They have clear plastic in front of the numbers that looks much like the glass on the real thing. The cab sides have photo-etched sunshades and wind deflectors, and the cab has a detailed interior. The detail in the back is similar to the front. It's hard to find rear-end shots of locomotives sometimes, but some of the ATSF-9s carried spare knuckles on the rear pilot. On top, the cab has the as-delivered antenna arrangement. In later years, many units were retrofitted with GPS domes or different antennas. The horn casting looks good. I really like how ScaleTrains blackened the interior of the exhaust stack. The opening also extends down into the model. This is a huge improvement over some GE models where the stack is shallow and it's obvious that it doesn't go anywhere. The radiator grills are photo-etched and they look really nice. There's a lot of plumbing under the sill, though as I mentioned earlier, some of it is incorrect. Still, it looks good sitting on the track. All of the axles are powered and all the wheels pick up current. The model has ScaleTrains knuckle couplers on both ends. The front coupler is slightly low, so I'm taking 5 points. The rear coupler is close enough to call it good. These couplers don't have trip pins, so they won't work with magnetic uncouplers. All the wheels are engaged according to the NMRA standards gauge. There is no body wobble. The engine weighs a hefty 23.5 ounces. I measured a peak drawbar pull of 4.7 ounces on my force gauge. That's almost twice as much as an average HO scale diesel, so this thing has plenty of power. I'm running my engine on DCC and I haven't changed any of the default decoder settings. The model comes with an ESU Loc Sound 5 DCC sound decoder. Pressing the F8 key turns on the sounds, the number boards, and the deck light. The sounds have a long startup sequence and the model won't start moving until that's done. F0 turns on the headlight. F6 turns on the ditch lights. As you can see, one of mine doesn't work, so I'm taking 5 points. The ditch lights and headlights are directional, so they only shine in the direction of travel. The engine also has a DPU mode that is activated with F5. This will light the headlight that's shining opposite the direction of travel. F2 sounds the horn. F1 rings the bell. The model has an ESU power pack that will keep it running for a few seconds if it loses track power. F4 puts the engine in dynamic brake mode. The locomotive runs very smoothly. Let's see what we've got. Some of the undersill details in the truck side frames were incorrect for ATSF 642, so I took a total of 10 points in the prototype accuracy category. The model had one low coupler and a broken ditch light, so I took a total of 10 points in the standards and operation category. That leaves us with a total of 80 out of 100 possible points, which would be a B- on a report card. This is a good model and it deserves a green signal. Though it has a few flaws, this is still arguably the nicest C44-9W that's ever been made in HO scale. I think a lot of modern era modelers will like it.